What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video, yeah, that's right, boys, we're doing some preparation work. We're getting ready to hit the streets. Yep, Panda, here we come, round two. This time, we're not coming with a 600. Yeah, that's right, boys. Last time we went to visit Panda's street race fun, I guess you would call it, down in Mexico, aka somewhere south of here. Anyways, we had fun with the 600. We took Bessie to 636. If you missed that video, I'll drop a link here. And if you haven't seen Panda's channel or don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. Be sure to check that out. One of the hottest channels on YouTube today with street race, motorcycle, havoc fun all the time. So anyways, we are prepping this thing to get ready to hit the streets. Now, as you guys see, this is the 2020 GSXR1000 that we are taking to the streets, but we are not taking it in this form. Yeah, that's right, boys. We got a brand new swing arm straight from DME Racing that came in, and it is built just to my specs for street race applications. So we're gonna take that, drop that off to get powder coated right here in just a second. It should be back tomorrow, and we're putting it on and go into the streets. In the meantime, we have got some brand new products from Carbon Smith, new velocity stacks. These are dimpled velocity stacks. So this is built off the same design as what he had before, but they have a new dimpling effect. So basically they are dimpled like a golf ball would be. The logic and the idea behind the dimpling is that fuel sits in the dimples and then air flows faster over the fuel versus just over the raw plastic or metal or whatever it is. So anyways, we're gonna put the stock stacks in it now. We're gonna put those in. Then we're gonna put the regular Carbon Smith velocity stacks in. Then we're gonna put the dimpled ones in. The dimpled ones, I'm not sure is gonna give us a huge gain on the dyno over the regular ones, but I feel like at the racetrack, they're definitely gonna help in our top end speeds. We're gonna find out today. Stay with us, guys. Here we go. Oh yeah, there it is, boys. This thing super neat and clean. So this thing will go from 60 inches all the way back to 65 inches wheelbase. So basically back to about 10 inches over, but as short as about 5 inches over. So I think this is gonna be the perfect setup for the street. And you see we've even got the tabs for a nitrous bottle bracket. Later on, we are gonna put this arm on our 2021 GSXR1000. All right, guys, as you can see, we got the bike all maintenance up and we have got it back on the dyno to do some testing today. Now, before we've started, we have put the factory velocity stacks back in the bike. That is correct. We have the stock OEM velocity stacks installed with a Sprint F185 air filter. Now, we are doing this test with MR12 race gas, and the bike is, I would say, 90% tuned through the ECU, and I have a Bazzaz on it for quick and easy adjustments. So as you can see, I have just tweaked the tune for the stock velocity stacks. You can see here we're at like -2, -5, you know, -1, 2% up top. So not a whole lot of correction, but we do have some correction in the Bazzaz. We're gonna be running this thing, showing what it makes. After we get done running it, I'm gonna show you the room conditions. I'm gonna show you the air-fuel ratios. I'm gonna show you all that stuff while Mike is in the process of changing out the velocity stacks to our Carbon Smith velocity stacks.
Now, these are the original velocity stacks from Carbon Smith. This is the new and improved dimpled design. So you can see there, it has the dimpling effect versus the smooth effect from the other stacks. So, and then in just a second, I'll show you what the factory velocity stacks look like and how they compare. But as of right now, we're gonna fire it up and do a dyno pull. We'll do 2 dyno pulls back to back. Before we get into all that, I'm gonna show you what the temperature of the bike is, just to make sure there's no variance. The bike's at 200 degrees now. Once we crank it up, it's 199. It's gonna continue to drop, and we're gonna do our pull. Our check engine light is on due to the rear wheel spinning and the front wheel sitting still. You can see the temperature is dropping there. We are at approximately 14% humidity at 59 degrees in the dyno room now. So let's see how this thing does. Hopefully you guys can watch the air fuel ratio on the screen as we're running it. We're gonna stick with that air fuel ratio throughout the whole entire video. As of right now, we're gonna get these velocity stacks changed out. Alright guys, so we got the Carbon Smith velocity stacks in there. This is the original set, I guess you would say. The ones we came out with first. And then we've still got the dimpled stacks over there. And then of course we have the stock stack. So while Mike is buttoning that up, I'm going to show you what the stock velocity stacks look like against the Carbon Smith velocity stacks. So the biggest difference that you're going to see is the height of these stacks. And then they're also angled. So basically the way they flow the air into the engine is what makes the difference in the horsepower. And what we're looking to see really is where this goes up and then kind of goes back down. We're gonna hopefully it tapers on out straight here. So we will see, like I said, we see what our air fuel ratio is. This was our best pull on the stock stacks. And then now we're gonna put it back together and do 2 pulls there. And then of course, like I said, we're gonna try to simulate the exact same air fuel ratios throughout the run. All right guys, Carbon Smith velocity stacks are in. We're about to do a test on this thing. I'm gonna show the engine temp here. It is at 192 degrees. We're gonna fire this thing up, make 2 pulls just as we did before, and see what our results are. So I have not corrected or changed any air fuels. This is the exact same tune it had in it before. see our air fuel is pretty much dead on. Like it didn't really change it at all. So you can see here, the bike is actually a little richer at 13,000, and I think that's why our gains are a little smaller here. So we're gonna go in a couple little spots and we're gonna tweak our air fuel ratio and see what kind of gains we get. But with just no tuning, no anything, we gained a total of 3 horsepower, but in certain spots we gained 5 horsepower. So let's tweak the tune a little bit, and just to show you that it is the same, we're gonna go right over here. We'll turn on the computer. And show you, key is on. Quick connect here. And just to show you, all our numbers in the Bazzaz are the exact same. So let's keep tweaking this. I see in a couple spots we need to fix some things and see what we come up with. All right, so we just made our tuning changes. We're gonna see what this does for us. And then after this, I'm gonna show you the conditions. We'll change that on the screen to show you the run conditions, to show you that the temperature, the humidity, the correction factor, all that stuff is the exact same. We ended up with 195. Remember, run 78 was the best run with our stock velocity stacks. And then, of course, we're on run 82 now. We're going to delete run 81, which was the first pull. So now we have the best run after we've tuned it, the best run before we tuned it, and the best run with the good tune and the stock velocity stacks. So now let's delete run 80, which was the best run with the untuned velocity stacks. And now we can start to really see our gains shine. So here at 8,000 RPMs, we're at 121 versus 124. And then you can see our air fuel is 0.1% difference of a ratio. At 9,500, we went from 148 to 153. But most importantly, what we're really bragging on these velocity stacks for is we went from 188 to 195. So for all you mathematicians out there who have college degrees, that is a difference of 7 horsepower. So it's really good gains at 13,700 RPMs basically. At 14,500 RPMs, we went from 185 to 196.86. So really good numbers so far. Now we're gonna go over here and we're gonna change our max numbers. We're gonna change that to run conditions, okay? So this is gonna show you the conditions that we were dealing with. Earlier it was 63.9 degrees, now it is basically 62. We basically went from 64 to 62 degrees, humidity, all that stuff, basically the same, and it is using the same correction factor. Now we are using a STD correction factor, which is standard, That's what we ran it in the first time, that's what we ran it in the last time. So the correction factor doesn't really matter as long as, you know, you're comparing apples to apples. So now we're gonna put in the dimpled velocity stacks and see what kind of gains we get from this. I'm not really sure on the dyno that these are gonna show, you know, a huge gain, but I feel like at the racetrack, we're talking some pretty significant gains with these things, and I'm gonna be testing that soon. So now we're gonna get these stacks out and see what we come up with. All right, guys, I got the dimpled stacks in. I must say, these things look way fancier than the other ones. We're gonna see how they work, but I really like the way they look. And like I said, I feel like on the racetrack, the more fuel these things get on them, and the air is gonna just flow better and faster, because we got a good fan here, and we have, I mean, there is air going in our air ducts, but it's not 100 mile per hour air, 150 mile per hour air, whatever, like it would be getting at the racetrack, to be giving us the full gains and effects. And like I said, we're gonna try to test these at the racetrack here soon. Just right now, we are in February and we are fighting weather, so we're doing the best we can for now, guys. All right, guys, here we go. The tuning shouldn't be changed a whole lot, or I wouldn't expect it to anyways, but we are about to fire this thing up and see how it does. You can see we are at 199 degrees now. It's gonna drop a little bit. Let's see how it does though. Guys all set up. Air fuel ratio, like I said, should be pretty dead on because the height of the stacks and stuff like that is not changed. Still got the conditions, rim conditions are up. We're gonna change that over to max values. And we're at 196.03. So we're gonna run 78 was the best from our original stacks. We're gonna keep that up. Run 82 was the best with our tuned stacks, the original Carbon Smiths, and then run 83 was the first pull with the dimpled. We're gonna take it off and look at our differences, okay? So, I hate it when it does this. We got blue and purple versus red. So this is a little hard to know, but anyways, the difference between our red and purple here is the dimpled versus non-dimpled stacks. But if we come down here and look, our air fuel ratio has actually changed, which I'm actually surprised of. We did also pick up on our foot-pounds of torque as well. You can see here in the, what is this, 9,500 RPMs. We've gone from 147 to 154. 148 to 155. So that's actually a pretty good difference there. We've also got a pretty good gain here at 11.5 as well. From nose stacks to dimpled stacks, we went from 183 to 177. And then we went from 182 to 183 with the other stacks. But right here is where our air fuel is off just a smidge, around 12.5. I'm gonna try to adjust that and see if we can get anything else out of this thing. On the very top end so far, the dimpled stacks versus the Carbon Smith Velocity stacks are pretty much identical. You can see we've got just a difference of a half a horsepower or so at 14,000 RPMs. And you can see our air fuel ratio pretty much dead on the money with every single one of them. But you can see above 14,000 RPMs here in the red with our dimpled velocity stacks, the bike is going lean. So that means it is putting more air in there. Let's make some adjustments for that and see what we get. All right guys, so I just wanted to show you the correction of the map. You can see it's all just 1-2% differences, but you see up top, we're adding some good fuel up here. So let's see what happens when we make all this happen. That time. So the first pull is actually a little better than the second one, but our torque, all that stuff is really, really close. So we're gonna stick with our best one. That's what we've done pretty much every pull. It's only a difference of 1/4 of a horsepower. So we're gonna take that off, and you can see we've got a green line now, a purple line, and a blue line. So the dimpled velocity stacks did actually show us a gain on the dyno, which I'm really surprised of. And the good thing is these velocity stacks never lose horsepower from the stock ones anywhere. You can see the torque never drops, nor does the horsepower. So no matter where you look, you do not see a loss in power. So overall, I think these dimpled velocity stacks are definitely gonna make a big difference at the racetrack. All right guys, so I made some final tuning tweaks to this GSXR with the dimpled velocity stacks. So I think these things have really paid off for us in the long run. Even though I told you in the very beginning, I didn't think they were gonna show a big gain on the dyno. It did show an additional 1 and 2 horsepower over the other Carbon Smith velocity stacks, which is a pretty significant gain over the stock velocity stacks. I think at the racetrack, these things are really gonna show a big gain when you start doing pulls in multiple gears, such as the racetrack. You're gonna really see some good results out of this thing. Let's fire it up and run it one more time as we tweak these air fuel ratios a little bit and see if we can squeeze one more number out of it. gonna go ahead and show you the best from the dimpled versus the best from the stock, okay? And you can see everywhere throughout the complete RPM curve, the blue is our dimpled velocity stacks. I'm sorry, the green is our dimpled velocity stacks and the blue is our stock velocity stacks. Really good gains everywhere from 187 to 196.81. That is 9 horsepower, boys. Really, really good gains out of these things. 189 to 197. And overall, I think these things are definitely worth the money.
All right, guys, I know this has been a super lengthy video. I appreciate you watching it. Those of you who watched to the end, you get an extra 5 points, extra credit on your homework. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And as always, smash that like button. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.